All right, g'day. Here we are, Saturday night. Circa Contest entries are in. Scott's got his proxies in. We've got Gabe here again for a second week. Come on, Scott. What do we got this week? How's it all looking?
It's not looking good at all here, Adam. We're seeing a huge problem here at halftime. I'm not sure what's going on, but I can tell you this: I'd be playing Nebraska big here in the second half because they're going to win this ball game. But we didn't come here to talk about college football and Nebraska winning the title. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's do Survivor first. Since Gabe is our Survivor man, let's go ahead and attack Survivor because we've got some interesting choices here. Number one pick by the contestants in my proxy service landed on the 49ers. Can you tell us where the master money is on the 49ers?
Yeah, 67% of the money's on San Francisco points. The master money at the spread is 53%. The thing that I saw was on the Panthers money line, it's about 71% overall for the 49ers, but a bit over 90% of the master money was on the Panthers. So that's kind of one of the things that I look at when I'm sort of picking spots. San Francisco was almost going to be my second entry pick, but I just ended up taking a sharp turn, and we'll see what happens with that sharp turn and how that works out. I know Scott's already keen to jump on and ask what the hell happened there. But yeah, right now, it'll be interesting. Have we really had a game this season where there's going to be a lot of people sweating a Monday night and then everybody knowing whether they got through or not on a Sunday? Usually we have it on a Thursday, not knowing how many are on it. But here we're going to be, Sunday over, and I imagine a significant amount of people on the 49ers, and everybody through Sunday sitting there Monday night going, come on, Panthers.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm expecting, too. Gabe, how do you like this game?
Well, the 49ers, from a game point of view, they're a big favorite, but the seems like too many of the crowd is going to be on them, especially when they have some great future spots in important weeks. Getting to host Tennessee is like a really big deal. Every team, licking their chops when they get to host Tennessee, right? And with so many entries still alive, 900 plus entries, there's trying to set yourself up in the future. I think 49ers is a great example of a team where it looks good now, but if you can save them, take some courage and save them, you could really get rewarded when other people don't have them.
Sounds really good. Sounds good. Let's take a look at pick number 2. Adam, are you ready for this one? This is Baltimore Ravens. We call those guys out a lot in this contest. Apparently, a bunch of people had him left. So where are you seeing the money on the Ravens?
Yeah, all the money's on the Ravens. A bit over 80% on the spread. The master chart's a little bit more balanced. The money line's all Ravens. I think it's 98% of the money line action is on the Ravens. I'm sure they're being used for parlays and stuff like that. But for me, this was an easy one to use one of the entries on, a bit like New England last week. Just, try and get through, be safe. I had looked to use them for Thanksgiving Day. Again, with my 2 entries, I decided to use Ravens 1 this week. And then in the other one, when the other entry gets through, use the Ravens on that probably on Thursday. And see what happens. But that one seemed like the easy one. I imagine that's sort of at the top of the tree in general. But yeah, it's a lot of money on the Ravens.
Yeah, and you bring up a very interesting point, and this is one I'll throw to Gabe. What do you think about wasting the Ravens in this spot and not saving them? What's your position on that?
I like saving them because I think one thing we saw this week, a lot of people were thinking about saving them for Thanksgiving. And now that it seems pretty likely Burrow's coming back, I think a decent chunk of the field are kind of scared of that. There's kind of uncertainty. They don't want to deal with it. They're taking Baltimore this week. And I'm thinking however it shakes out, Baltimore is not going to be very available on Thanksgiving. And the line, I'm pretty sure there's a line out. It's like -7, maybe -7.5 for that Ravens game. And my thinking is, if there's no bigger favorites than that, and they're not very available, then I'm wanting to have Ravens then instead of now. But if you don't have any of the right spots, like maybe it's worth like taking the risk away down from Baltimore to one of the other ones. Kind of matters what the entry is, I think.
And I would have 1,000% agree with you, but I really want Adam to survive in this contest. And you wait till you hear his other pick. So I'm glad he wasted one on the Ravens here. So let's talk about this. Now we have two more teams. We're only going to talk about 4 survivors this week, and the other 2 teams tied, which I was shocked to see. The first one we'll talk about is the Seahawks. Where are you seeing the money on the Seahawks?
Right now, actually, there's more money on the Titans on the spread. Again, it's a big spread, so it doesn't have much association with the survivor. When I looked at the money line, 90+% on the Seahawks there on the money line. No master action on the money line. It seemed an easy one. I've just kind of had a bit of a rule that I wasn't, going to take too many away teams through the process. Just right or wrong, it's been something that I've always, home dogs has been my bread and butter for 30 years. So I don't like to sort of jump into that. And I think Seattle had a good spot down the road as well. And I think I may have even used them in one of the entries that's left as well. So seems like an easy enough pick. But right now, on the point spread, it's well balanced. But again, doesn't really mean much in the survivor conversation.
Very true. Gabe, what do you think about this Seahawks pick?
It's hard if you have Seattle not to use them. They're such a big favorite. Get you to Thanksgiving. That feels good, right? But thinking deeper in the contest, Seattle's going to be not very available. Like they're going to be single digits available after this probably. And, we talk about week 17, week 18, how it's kind of murky. You don't really have some stuff to hold on in there. But week 17, Seattle at Carolina, I don't see Seattle being in a position where they're not stomping Carolina that day. And week 17 is by far the hardest week left. More of the field should get knocked out week 17 than any other week. So it takes courage to hold them through till then, but that could be like literally the $18 million play in Circa if you're the only person left with Seahawks or maybe the Rams or Patriots that week. With so many people left in that, I'm thinking about that type of stuff.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about the real dark horse of the week. And Adam was not the only one who picked the Raiders that I'm putting picks in for. They ended up being tied with the Seahawks. The Raiders, Adam, you're going to have to explain this pick because I've talked to originators all week and they said this is a great game to stay away from. And you basically bet your survivor life on them. Tell us what you were thinking.
Now you've got me questioning my thinking, but no, I mean this is a bit like I think Pittsburgh last week. As I looked at the numbers, looked at the data, where is it again in front of me? They're fairly well balanced on the bets on the spread. There's about 68% of the master money is on the Raiders. When I looked at the money line, it's about 80% Raiders and 92% on the money line master, the Raiders. Not a lot on the Browns. So, again, I'm sort of looking at these numbers from bets that have come in. Low volume, so there's nothing really, it's not like there's big numbers sort of pointing this in a direction. But rolled, just decided to take the Ravens to get through to next week, thinking that my second entry, I'll use them on the Ravens next week. That's the kind of confidence I have in those Raiders. Then I kind of went back and looked at the last 4 weeks and haven't been horrible. And the Browns have probably been a little more horrible. I mean, 2-8 teams, flip of the coin. But ultimately, and it'll probably come back and bite me, and my son has been talking about getting Sanders in the game and hoping that he has, and I was kind of hanging some shit on him last week because last week I was on Cleveland big against the Ravens. And then, when he came in and they had opportunities and yes, he hadn't had a lot of snaps with the first team and I get all those things, but I think it's a spot that I just thought, you know what, I'm really playing against a quarterback here, a rookie coming in, getting his first start. Raiders have been close in the last few weeks. Yeah, they got blown out Monday night. So, again, it's off a 6-day week. But they're at home again. I'm flipping a coin really and just going, this is the one to sort of stick your neck out and keep some good teams for down the road. If I had 2 entries, would I do that? Probably not. But that's sort of the way of sort of trying to balance this out of playing hard up front and keeping some teams. And yeah, thankfully I just booked a flight today and I'll actually be in the air when this game's going on. So I will land and I will find out whether I have 1 or 2 or possibly 0, I guess, if the Jets show up. Who knows? But yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. It's really, I'm playing against Sanders. That was probably the answer at the end of the day. So let's see what he does.
Let's do it. I'll be cheering for you, buddy. Gabe, tell us what you think about this crazy pick.
I think the pick is awesome. I think in these big pools, when there's so many entries left to get through, and there's so many good entries out there, if your entry like isn't close to them, as far as like future strength, what you have saved up, I think Vegas is the best play on the board. If it was a small pool, if it was like only a few people left, like maybe Grandissimo, maybe it's a stretch to go that far down. But when there's so many entries to get through, and it's sliding by with the Raiders, you get to save the 49ers or save the Packers or I don't know, whoever else is out there. I love it. And also, Adam, as far as missing the game, this has the makings of an all-time classic game. Shedeur Sanders' first start ever. Like, your kid's into it. This game, I'm sad you can't watch it because I feel like all the survivor pools people are going to be glued to this like kind of car wreck game.
Well, that's not exactly the way I expected you to go with that. I think one of us has been drinking, and I don't think it was Adam or me. So I'll be anxious to see the game tomorrow. Of course, I'm cheering the Raiders on because I want to see Adam do very well in this contest and actually win it. So let's talk a little bit about the millions because there's not any surprises in the millions at all. Number 1 pick on the million side, the Lions. Where are you seeing the money at on this one, Adam?
Yeah, so this one we're actually going to have as our play of the week, game of the week. 81% of the money was on the Lions. Now, this is, again, perfect spot. You could tell that this was going to be really the number 1 pick. The contest line was 10. The game line's now 13. When I looked at it, there's some money at the -12.5, -13. But there was some really sharp money, I would call it, at +11.5 sort of earlier in the week. And 68% of the master money is on the Giants. And it's not at the 13.5. It's actually at 11.5 and 12. So it's just, we don't ask why. We just look at the numbers and the data and it's coming up with the Giants. But yeah, at the +13.5, +13, it looks like a good play right now.
Sounds really good to me. Gabe, you want to talk about the Lions at all? Or are you good?
I got nothing on that game.
Perfect. Okay. Let's go to the next one then. Next one on the list, the Titans. What do you got on the Titans there, Adam?
Yeah, so we spoke about this one earlier. The contest line was 13.5. The line's pretty solid at 13. Titans has 55% of the money, 91% of the master money. So I played these a few times in this. There's no reason they can't cover the 13.5. Seattle on the road. I just think this one will stand out, and they'll hang on within a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, it's a lot of points. It's definitely a lot of points. Gabe, you got anything on this one?
No, just
okay.
The Seahawks. Just as from a ball angle, I like the Seahawks blowing them out here. The Seahawks seem really, really good.
Sounds good. Now we go into the last 3 that we talk about in millions. And they're all tied for number 3 in our list. So let's start out with the Atlanta Falcons. Adam, where are you seeing the money on this one at?
Yeah, so Atlanta on the contest was 2.5. When I was putting in my picks last night, the line was generally 1.5. So you could tell, again, people are going to play into this one. I actually picked the New Orleans in a spot because I'm pretty well down the list on a few of my entries. So I thought, Giants are going against the crowd. New Orleans here. But 67% of the money's on New Orleans, 75% of the master money. So yeah, this one was an easy pick on the contest just because of the number moving. But I also thought it was a spot if you're down a few picks to go against the run of the crowd and take the Saints here at home.
I got you. Gabe, you want to talk about this one, or are you good?
That one, I gotta say, it's kind of in the same boat as the Raiders, where maybe it could have been the spicy survivor pick. I know it's a little lower money line, but I stared at that one a lot this week. It's really hard to get there taking the Saints, of course, just like the Raiders.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the next one that's tied. America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Adam, where do you see the money on this one?
Yeah, and this was another one. The contest was 3.5. The line's been 3 solid all week. Early money was all over Dallas at the 4 and the 3.5. This has got really good volume already. 68% of the money's on Dallas. 84% of the master money's on the Cowboys as well. So this is one where, the Eagles have got a number of games up their sleeve in the division. Cowboys really need to win this one. Felt like a good spot to take the hook on the contest, so I did expect there'd be plenty of picks on this one.
Sounds good. Gabe, you got anything on this one?
Nothing.
Good. Okay. Let's go to the final one that's tied. Let's go Tampa Bay. What are you seeing on the money on this one?
Yeah, so oddly enough, a lot of the conversations I've been in this week have all talked up sort of Tampa Bay in this spot. I don't see it as much as what others seem to be seeing it. It's 50-50 on the spread, 67% of the master money on Tampa Bay. This was a weird one that it was as high as it was for a lot of people. Number seems solid, good two-way action, not a lot of master action. But again, when you're looking for 5 entries, this week just found like there wasn't any 5 that really jumped out. There was maybe 2 with the numbers a little off, maybe 3, but it just seemed like you were sort of grasping at 4 and 5 to really find where they were going to come from. So I know I'm strong on probably 3 plays, and the 5 entries on the 4th and the 5th are scattered all over the place.
I got you, and that was the way my entries looked when I was entering them last night for the contest. Gabe, do you want to talk about Tampa Bay at all?
No, I got no angles on that game.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of more things I'd like to talk about. We have a hard out here in 5 minutes, so we're going to have to wrap it up in 5 minutes. But there is a couple of things we wanted to talk about. And Gabe, you touched on it slightly, I believe, right before we went on air, about you were going to update your number of predictions to end the contest for Survivor.
Yes. Okay. Last week we talked about maybe 12.5. I threw that out. And I wanted to come back this week with a smarter number. I said I was just shooting from the hip. I've been torturing these numbers all week trying to get them to say something, right? And I'm seeing about 50 winners. And that seems high. Like there's something in my spidey sense feels like that's too high. Like there's too much wreckage. But going through each week and laying out all the entries, what everyone has available, there's just so many weeks where there's a bunch of favorites that most entries have. So we're not ready to publish all the work we're doing at Survivor Atlas yet, but if I had to set a new line right this second, I would say 35. Just going to throw that out there.
Boy, I wish you were a bookie because I want to play the under bad.
Well, hey, I got you for $20, man. $20, you're on.
We can't gamble on the show. We can't gamble on the show, or at least admit it anyway.
Right on.
The one other thing I wanted to bring up, and then Adam, I'll let you jump in here, is my buddy Joseph and I are in a losers contest, and he just wanted for me to relay to you how great your website is, because he was going through some things there, trying to make some decisions, and he just was very, very impressed with how your website was helping him try to win this contest. So it's kind of the opposite of what you're trying to make the website do, but you could make it work the opposite way too. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, so actually I had a look at it this week, and it's very informative and diving into who had. I had no idea that there was still someone with 10 entries. That's really how close I've been looking at it. I've just been trying to survive myself rather than worrying about what everyone else has occasionally I look at the availabilities and that, but yeah, I mean, it's that. And the other one I've occasionally sort of looked at is a survivor grid as well. But any of these things that you can just sort of get into, look at that. And then I've sort of take the information from these resources and then I go and look at my charts. The charts are ultimately guiding me through this journey. The fact that there was nothing, coming at the Browns too hard and whatnot is why I've ended up on the Raiders. So again, we'll see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, it's getting to the spot as you sort of look at those last few weeks, especially week 18. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the teams there, especially when you save a good team and then suddenly they're just resting quarterback, running back, and, half the team as well. But that was kind of the thing that, I'm not surprised with where Gabe came out at the numbers. Maybe, a little bit high, but definitely I think there'll be more winners than at this thing ending early. As I sort of started to plot out the last, 9 picks left, and then we've got 3 in the next 8 days, it did feel like it was opening up where you're really going to need someone that's a 10, 12-point favorite to get, taken out to really disrupt this whole thing. And maybe that's, the Titans this week with the Seahawks, or the Panthers taking out San Francisco. Or why not have both? Let's have the West Coast teams just take a dump this week. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely fun getting to Sundays and just sort of sweating this thing out. And I feel very comfortable having one pick on Thanksgiving. I'm really hoping to have 2, and we'll see how it plays out.
Hey, that's the dream, right? Just having one there. Step 1 of the dream is just getting to Thanksgiving.
It's definitely true.
Yeah, I just want to say, or sorry, Scott, just real quick. Out of your charts and my charts, they both led us to the same place of being that the Raiders is like a good pick, and I'm thinking lots of people in the world would never consider it being like on their menu, but feels cool to arrive on that one together because my group of friends, we got some Raiders action. So go Raiders. Good luck, dudes.
I'm amazed. I would have bet a serious amount of money you would not have said that. But guys, we've got a hard out. We've got to get out. There's about another 15 minutes of stuff we can talk about. We'll do that next week, but we've got to watch Nebraska overcome this deficit in the second half and win this ball game. So that's going to be all for me.
All right, everyone, good luck on your betting if you're still playing today, tomorrow in the NFL, and go Panthers Monday night.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
All right, good luck. Cheers.
Thank you.